MAC or Revlon? Which one is actually doing better for the planet? The beauty industry creates over 120 billion packaging units every year, and 95% of that becomes waste. If you're tired of vague green claims and want honest answers about your beauty brands, then you're in the right place. Because today we are cutting through the noise to expose the real environmental footprint and ethical sourcing of MAC and Revlon, giving you the clarity you need to choose smarter, spend wisely, and feel good about your makeup bag. Because beyond the packaging problem, the pressure on beauty brands is building up very fast. Millions of consumers every year are now transitioning to cleaner, safer, and transparent beauty products. Yet MAC and Revlon still don't give their full picture. And that lack of transparency is exactly why we are putting them head to head today. Now we'll be examining both these brands across 4 sustainability pillars. Number 1, ingredient transparency. How clearly they disclose what's inside your product. Number 2, climate commitments. How they are reducing carbon in their operations. Number 3, packaging and refills. Whether their packaging is recyclable, reusable, or refillable. And number 4, ethical sourcing. How responsibly they source ingredients like mica, palm derivatives, and minerals. And if you're new here, I am Arjun Phillips. I've worked in global sustainability for over a decade, and my mission is to help you make choices that protect both your skin and the planet. And that is why I started out this channel, to provide you a step-by-step guide for choosing the best sustainable beauty products out there. Now, between 2020 and 2023, sustainable personal care products grew almost 10% annually, showing that millions of consumers are ready to pay a premium for sustainable beauty. But many beauty brands still engage in greenwashing or just sidestep their commitments. But before we jump to any conclusions, let's carefully examine the 2 brands we are picking up today. And the first one up is MAC. Now, MAC is a global beauty heavyweight owned by Estee Lauder and sold in more than 120 countries. With its scale and influence, MAC has a large environmental footprint, so transparency really matters. And we'll start with the most important one for consumers. Pillar number 1, ingredient transparency. Now, MAC does provide an ingredient listing on its website, but deeper transparency, especially for the high-risk ingredients, is limited. The mineral responsible for shimmer in eyeshadows and highlighters has a supply chain linked to unsafe mining and child labor in many parts of the world. And MAC does not publish product-level mica sourcing details or confirm whether mica used in its products is traceable or certified. Instead, MAC relies on Estee Lauder's corporate statements, which acknowledges risks and mentions partnerships with NGOs. But as a consumer, you do not receive full traceability, product-level mica disclosure, or confirmation whether the mica is certified and ethical. So MAC does provide ingredient listing, but it doesn't give a full picture, meaning that there is no deeper transparency. And I know many of you find it very annoying to understand those ingredient names behind your beauty products. But don't worry, I have you covered. Just scroll down to the description of this video. There you will find a link under the free resources title. Click on it and enter your email. Automatically, my free sustainable beauty guides will be delivered to you in your inbox. Now, moving on, we come on to pillar number 2, that is climate commitments. So here's the thing, MAC does not publish any sustainability reporting. So all climate information comes from Estee Lauder. Now here's what Estee Lauder has reported publicly. Almost all its offices and facilities are 100% renewable energy powered. It has reduced a significant portion of its operational emissions, and it aims to cut its emissions by a half by 2030. Plus, it's working with its suppliers to improve responsible sourcing and manufacturing. Now, these are positive steps, but they're corporate-led goals. We do not know how much of this applies to MAC, and there is no brand-level carbon data or product-level emission information. Now, let's see pillar number 3, packaging and refills. Now, MAC's largest sustainability level initiative is its Back to MAC program, where customers return empty containers for recycling. Historically, returning 6 empties earned you a free lipstick, but this incentive no longer exists in many of the regions. Now, MAC claims that 50% of its packaging can be recycled, reused, and refilled. However, MAC does not report how many empties are collected. There is no information on how much of this packaging footprint this offsets. Nearly half of their packaging still can't be recycled or refilled. And lastly, MAC does not publish any life cycle or recycling outcome data. So while the program is positive, the impact is kind of missing. Now, mica sourcing remains a very sensitive issue. Most global mica is mined in unsafe conditions and usually employs a lot of child labor. And the problem is that MAC does not provide any product level sourcing details, supplier lists, and traceability proof. All in all, MAC relies on Estee Lauder's general commitment statements but offers no brand level transparency. So, bringing up the MAC verdict in a nutshell, packaging has initiatives but it lacks transparent reporting. Ingredients, basic disclosure without deeper transparency. Climate relies entirely on Estee Lauder's corporate goals. Ethical sourcing acknowledges risks but no product level transparency. So, here's the thing. MAC is not acting irresponsibly, but it is far from being transparent. And with its global scale, it could do significantly more. Now let's turn our attention to Revlon, another major beauty name sold widely in drugstores worldwide. Because of its reach, even a small sustainability change at Revlon can have a large impact. Now let's examine it according to our 4 pillars. Pillar number 1, ingredient transparency. Now, Revlon is doing ingredient listing and discusses safety, but there is no clear definition of what is clean or sustainable ingredients. There is no product level breakdown of controversial ingredients, and traceability is absent, meaning it's similar to MAC. Revlon provides basic information, but not the full story. Pillar number 2, climate commitments. Now, Revlon publishes very little about its climate footprint. None of the recent sustainability reports outline energy use, emissions, reduction targets, or supplier emissions. And independent assessments show that the company heavily relies on virgin plastics and does not do any public reporting. Now, Revlon has partnered with Origin Materials to explore plant-based plastics, but these appear to be pilot-phased innovations rather than being widespread practices. But compared to MAC and Estee Lauder's detailed reporting, Revlon is largely silent. Pillar number 3, packaging and refills. Now, Revlon has taken some steps, including a collaboration with Origin Materials to explore bio-based plastics and a partnership with Plastic Bank for certain product lines. However, there isn't a major take-back or refill program. The majority of the packaging remains standard plastic, and the company does not publish any packaging volume or recycling data. So all in all, its efforts are kind of limited in comparison to its packaging footprint. Now looking at pillar number 4, ethical sourcing. Revlon also uses mica in many of its products. Past investigations linked one of its suppliers to mica from child labor risk regions. Revlon responded by stating that its suppliers adhere to standards and source from regulated mines. However, there is no product level traceability, no verification that this mica is ethically sourced. On animal testing, Revlon states that it doesn't do animal testing, but independent organizations haven't classified Revlon as a cruelty-free brand. Now moving on to the verdict on Revlon. When it comes to ingredient transparency, there is basic disclosure with no traceability. On climate commitments, there is minimal public data and there are unclear targets. On packaging and refills, there are limited initiatives with no take-back or refill programs. And on ethical sourcing, there are past controversies, limited transparency, and not independently cruelty-free. So Revlon shows early steps, but it's very far behind in sustainability disclosures. Before scoring both of these two brands, we need to zoom out on these 3 categories. First is third-party validation. Neither MAC or Revlon are certified by frameworks like B Corp or Leaping Bunny. These certifications evaluate ingredient sourcing, supplier monitoring, and traceability of high-risk materials, such as mica. Without third-party verifications, we rely on self-reported claims, which remain incomplete. Number 2, consumer engagement and transparency. Now, MAC highlights its Back to MAC program and Estee Lauder commitments. Revlon provides basic ingredient details, but very less on sourcing and emissions. But both brands avoid deeper discussions on mica mining, palm derivatives, manufacturing emissions, global logistics impacts, plastic waste dependency. And consumers today expect transparency, not marketing language. And number 3 are hidden environmental and social costs. Several impacts remain invisible to the consumers, like energy used in manufacturing, emissions from international transport, environmental strain from ingredient extraction, human risks associated with mica mining in vulnerable communities. These deeper issues reflect true sustainability, and both brands fall short of providing clarity. Alright, let's put all of this together and get the final sustainability scores. Based on our 4 sustainability pillars, here's how our 2 brands perform today. Looking at MAC, on ingredient transparency, it scores 5 out of 10. On climate commitments, it scores 6 out of 10. On packaging and refills, it scores 6 out of 10. And 5 out of 10 on ethical sourcing. That gives MAC a total of 22 out of 40. Now moving on to Revlon. Revlon scores 4 out of 10 on ingredient transparency, 3 out of 10 on climate commitments, 4 out of 10 on packaging and refills, and 4 out of 10 on ethical sourcing. That brings Revlon's total to 15 out of 40. Now, MAC scores slightly higher because of its visible programs and corporate-led climate reporting, but neither brand can be considered to be a sustainability leader. Both leave significant gaps, especially in ethical sourcing and traceability. Now, sustainability priorities differ from person to person. Some viewers may focus on packaging waste, others prioritize carbon emissions. Some may feel very strongly about ethical sourcing, child labor risks, and animal testing. While MAC scores higher today, the real question is, what matters most to you when choosing beauty products? Because your choices not only affect your routine, but also workers, communities, and ecosystems. And if you found this breakdown helpful, here's what you can do next. Comment with beauty brands you want reviewed next. Share this video with someone who wants to shop smarter, and subscribe for more evidence-based sustainability breakdowns. And lastly, a plea. Demand more transparency from your beauty brands, especially in their sourcing, their packaging, their climate commitments. Because when consumers push, brands listen. And this is how we make the beauty industry more cleaner, safer, and more honest.